Welcome to Lynn's Romance Reads. I'm Lynn, and this is the Booktube Newbie tag. If you already subscribed for my channel, you'll know that I already have some videos posted, but just with the way my schedule's been going, I haven't had time to get all of my kind of about me tags and videos that I wanted to out right away. My schedule's been kind of busy, and so I've been focusing on talking about the books I've been reading and wanting to read instead of about me videos. So we're gonna jump right in. So the Booktube Newbie tag is pretty standard. I'll have the questions in the description. I got the questions from Steph Reads. She does a lot of contemporary romance and traditionally published contemporary romance. So if you like that, please check her out because she's really cool, and she does a lot of book journaling content as well. So the first thing is, why did you start the channel? So I actually rediscovered reading during my graduate program for my degree. I was getting a master's in a science field, and I had a very flexible schedule, and I found time to read, and I found first the Smart Women Read Romance podcast, and then later Booktube, and I just fell in love with creators talking about the books they had read, because I read so much more than anyone I've ever met in person, and I wanted to have a digital relationship with people who also read a lot like I do. So I'm very excited to have this platform to talk about what I read and what I like, and to connect with other booktubers, particularly within the romance subgenre, which is what I read as well. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? Well, I mean, I bring myself, so I'm always going to be bringing my point of view, and so one thing that I think is very unique is I am a scientist by trade, so there's a lot of things within the STEM field that I can provide a lot of interesting insights into, since I have a graduate degree in that and have had experience in grad school and some other things. In particular, I think I've had some interesting opinions and discussions about my reading experience of the love hypothesis that's a little different than most of the average readers who don't have a STEM or grad school background. So yeah, those are some things that I think I can bring into Booktube. I also really prefer alien romance and paranormal romances, and I feel like there's a little bit of a gap in Booktube for that, and so hopefully I can fill that gap. What are you most excited about for this channel? So I think I already mentioned, I think the community is something that I'm most excited about. As I've started building content, I think I've gotten more excited about the behind the scenes stuff. I've really enjoyed learning how to edit, how to do book thumbnails and posts and stuff like that. It's been something very interesting, and it's a creative outlet that I kind of needed and hadn't explored until recently. Why do I love reading? So I love exploring different worlds and seeing new things. I love being put into a situation and seeing what other people, even albeit fictional people, will do in certain situations, kind of probing what makes each person unique and what makes each story unique is very fascinating for me. And then I just love traveling to different worlds and getting different perspectives. I love seeing what an author can do with an idea and where they can push it, and I find it very fascinating. What books and or series got you into reading? So I have pretty much always been a reader. I'm the only person in my immediate family that's a reader, and even pushing into my extended family, I'm one of few people who read a ton of books. So I remember my family moved between second grade and third grade in the United States, and so I have vivid memories of shopping my school's library for The Magic Tree House and Boxcar Children books in particular, but I also like what really like cinched it was Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys, and I think those were really the ones that really got me into reading, and I loved the mystery element, and I now have quite a love for 50s fashion and that era, and I wonder how much of that's from Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys, because that's set in the 50s as well. So I love so Nancy Drew really got me into reading as a child, and that's really where my like number one hobby when my parents wouldn't make me play sports was reading. So but as an adult reader, what got me into reading was I had started a new job, and I had a pretty menial job where I could listen to stuff while I did my job, and so I had several podcasts that I liked to listen to, but I didn't have a podcast repertoire that would fill my week. So I found audiobooks. And so I read a couple of self-helpy development books that a friend had recommended, and I had read some YA fantasy, specifically The Daughter of the Pirate King, and then the sequel, Daughter of the Siren Queen. And I really enjoyed all of that, but it wasn't until I read Throne of Glass and The Hating Game that I really got into reading and specifically finding my niche in romance as an adult reader. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Favorite booktubers are Justin Reed's Romance and Ava's Romance books. They are both people who are still actively in pursuing degrees. Justin's going back to school, Ava's still in college, and so I really want to know how they're balancing a kind of school mentality with being a reader and content creator, because I have just started a job teaching in the college level, and I've found that I'm having troubles finding that work-life balance, and I'd be interested to hear how they are addressing that gap, because if you haven't been back in the college realm recently, or aren't sure what it's like, there very much is an expectation that you can do things at any time. And as a professor, I can be answering emails at 8 p.m. at night or over the weekends, or I have to grade over the weekends. And so I haven't found that balance between my reading life, my work life, and then my personal life, and I'd be interested to hear what they have to say about that. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So, if you had asked me this before I started posting content, it would have been the behind the scenes stuff, the editing, the thumbnails, and all that stuff. And I'm still learning how to do all of that to the degree that I would like to be proficient in, but I'm picking it up a lot faster than I was expecting. One thing that's bothering me is making sure that I don't get my ring light and my glasses, because there's going to be days that I want to wear my glasses while filming, and so that's one thing that's like a little annoying, and so I'm trying to make sure I hold my head just so you don't see the glare. But I think realistically, I think the hardest thing that it's for me to overcome is going to be not feeling the pressure to read what everyone else is reading and like getting on bandwagons, and then the other side of that, which is trying to find the newest, greatest thing that no one's read. I feel like as a reader, I'm somewhere in the middle, because if a book gets too hyped, I don't want to pick it up, but I don't really want to have to go digging for all these books that no one's heard of. So I think for me, it's just kind of like finding confidence and belief in myself in reading what I want to read and not being pressured to pick things up. This is being filmed about, I think it's the 5th of September, and so like Nikki the Driver just came out, Magnolia Parks is a big deal, and it's like Magnolia Parks I have zero desire to pick up, but I'm so curious and everyone's been posting about it, so it's like, do I pick it up because everyone's picking it up and that that could help my channel grow? Or with like Nikki the Driver, this is a new release that just came out, and I want to pick it up because it's the sequel to Run Posey Run, one of my favorites. But also, I watched a review that Jen at the Book Refuge said, and she mentioned a trigger warning and some content things, and now I'm like, well, do I want to actually read this? And it's one of my anticipated books of the year, so I feel like just being influenced is going to be the hardest thing for me to overcome. Okay. When did you start reading? We kind of talked about this when we talked about what series got me into reading. So between 7th and 8th grade, or between the ages of 7 and 8, or approximately 2nd grade and 3rd grade was when I really read independently regularly. My mom would read aloud to us, but she doesn't have the patience for reading, and so once we got into chapter book territory, we were on our own, and so I was one who picked up books basically starting around age 8. My sister begrudgingly picked up books, and yeah, we're just everyone's different. So I started around the age of 8. Where do you read? I read primarily on my couch or in my bed. I primarily read on my Kindle, and so I'll prop up on my couch, or I'll prop up in my bed, but I can even be fully horizontal on my bed and hold my Kindle directly above my face. Doesn't really matter. I do have to watch my posture just because I do tend to carry my stress in my back and my shoulders. So I do try and make sure that my posture is relatively okay, but I do occasionally pick up audiobooks, and then it's while I'm if I'm reading an audiobook, it's while I'm doing chores or while I'm walking my dog Oliver. So if it's a physical book in ebook format, I'll be on my couch or in my bed. If it's an audiobook, I'll be anywhere doing anything. Okay, and our last question for the Booktube Newbie tag is, what kind of books do you like to read? So I try and read 5 nonfiction books a year. Other than that, primarily romance, and then I will read just about anything within the romance subgenre. I will say my favorites are alien, paranormal, and fantasy, and then my least favorites are taboo and contemporaries. So anything contemporary that's like normal people, normal life, I don't always want to pick up, but I will read them generally in audio format. And then but alien, paranormal, fantasy are kind of my bread and butter. Okay, well, thank you for watching my video. If you like it, please like the video, comment, or subscribe to my content. I've really enjoyed chatting with you about my bookish journey, and I hope to see you in another video, and happy reading.